look, in Latin America, there's opportunity for every impact theme or every UN SDG to be addressed. The needs are huge, therefore the opportunities are huge. We operate across all of these, in public health, in education, sustainable food and agriculture, affordable housing. All of these are huge needs for Latin America that are not going to be addressed just by governments, certainly, and philanthropy is not big enough to deal with all of them. And then on the environmental side, climate change, pollution, water and sanitation, let alone things that are outside of UN SDGs, financial inclusion. These are all great needs. There are lots of opportunities. And what we're seeing is that some of it's being addressed in Latin America, some of it's being addressed much more broadly and effectively, for instance, in Asia. And there are lessons from that activity from elsewhere that need to be brought to Latin America. Microlending in Asia, affordable housing in Europe, private education in Brazil that we don't see applied as much in many of the other countries. So I think the big lesson is look around. Let's figure out what can be done more of in Latin America. So looking forward, there's going to be a trend of filling in the gaps of the impact ecosystem. When you look around, there are some asset types that are active in impact investing, liquid equity, for the most obvious example, but also in private equity. But so many other areas haven't been filled in yet. So fixed income, debt instruments, real assets, more emerging markets, all those things are going to be, are gaps that are going to fill in more and more. Also, the range of participants in impact investing, governments, more philanthropies, more corporations will be using market incentives to work towards solving these problems. So that's what I expect to see in Latin America as elsewhere. I think also we're going to see more serious efforts at engagement. So too often people make an investment, but they're not really engaged with management. Impact investing, in my view, has to involve a lot of give and take between the investor and the invested company to make sure it's as impactful as it can be and as able to survive to deliver that impact. That can come through impact engagement. I don't mean ESG engagement, which we hear about. I mean really impact engagement. What do you do? What are you solving for? How can you make sure you survive another day to deliver that impact? And the third thing I'd say that we're going to see more of is higher standards, more standardization of impact management. I think that foundations and all asset owners have to spend a lot of time educating themselves more about what's possible, and also have to be more demanding of the entities that they invest in to be more impactful and to be more market oriented. So what do I mean by educating yourselves? There are all sorts of forms of social entrepreneurship and impact investing, and some of them range from basically philanthropy over to really market oriented investments. And so we need to all know where we're playing and need to know what we expect, what kind of returns are expected. Not everything has to be earning a return. Not everything has to be fully market oriented. But even in everything around philanthropy, you can always be thinking in terms of, does this have the incentives that will allow it to grow and thrive? We need to have a lot of structure. So in our case, the structure for an impact fund is that everything that we invest in must A, be thematically aligned, but B, have a theory of change. So every company that we invest in, we have to be able to articulate what it means if that company didn't exist, what need would not be being met. And that moves us away from the incumbents. We're doing the same thing as they've always done. In Latin America, that would mean we're not going to invest in the water utility that's been delivering water to everybody in the big cities of Latin America, just as they have been for years and years, will be investing in new technologies or in delivery to populations that haven't had that water before. So that additionality can come from new populations that are being served, new technologies that are being put out there by the companies, or new business models that they're bringing that hadn't been thought of before. We all know that impact has to go mainstream, that it's important to have BlackRock involved in it with lots of mobilization of assets, as much as it is to have any small cluster of people, 3 people in a solar lamp, to be out there changing the world bit by bit. It requires all of us. It requires all of philanthropy, all of government effort and multilateral effort, and all of the private sector. So what I think is most important and what's still lacking is communication about what's being done in different places, what's working, not working. Enclaves like this one, like Latin Pacto,